Well, Colorado fans, this is it. Colorado travels out to Salt Lake City this weekend to play in their season finale. No bowl hopes at this point, and at this point it's just trying to finally get over the hump and win one of these Pac-12 games against a quality Pac-12 opponent.
Yeah, I mean, people want to say they have nothing to play for and that it totally affects the team and this, and this, but they have a lot to play for. They have their pride to play for, and they have kind of a narrative to try and break, that they can't get it done in Pac-12 in a close game against a legit team. So the seniors are going to be out there, playing their butts off, and all the other players are going to be kind of behind them, trying to get them one last win and kind of end their career with a good taste in their mouth.
Even Mike McIntyre admitted that when you win your last game of the season, that's a good taste that stays in your mouth longer. Conversely, if they lose this game, it's going to be, tough for them to go into the winter conditioning program with the same type of enthusiasm that they otherwise would. You look back at this game between Colorado and Utah. Back in 2011, they, of course, beat the Utes on their home field and break that long road losing streak. Really weren't able to capitalize on the momentum from that, but even in the last 3 years when they have lost against the Utes, it's been by an average score of just 6 points per game.
Yeah, Coach McIntyre even said it. I asked him, is there anything that goes into these games being close? And he said, from a coach's perspective, you want to think no. But he said, maybe there really is, because every year it's been close. And he says, maybe with that last game of the season, nothing to lose mentality, it kind of gets the players to play a little more loose and helps them play this game. So in terms of building this game up, I think it is something you can look at, that these teams have played very close. When the Buffs have been able to kind of get up, and even though usually Utah has been pretty superior to them talent-wise, they've been able to hang with them.
Throughout his college career, you tune in the TV with Travis Wilson behind center, and you really don't know what you're going to get from him. Even I was interviewing a Utah writer this week, and he said even they had never really been able to get much of a gauge on him throughout his career. A guy that when he's playing at his best can be a real difference maker, and other times can be the guy that's stopping Utah from reaching their potential.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Kevin Hogan for Stanford in the fact that he can be great and he can help them, but his mechanics are weird.
He's a poor man's Kevin Hogan.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a kind of a fair comparison there. But when he's going, if he was to go this week, the Buffs would be in trouble. He can really make a lot of plays with his arm, and then he can make a lot of plays with his feet. And it seems to me that the Buffs always get that side of the player when they're playing them. So, you have to prepare for Travis Wilson to really be on. But if you can catch him on one of those off days when he's, making questionable decisions, you can hit him a couple times on those runs and shake him up a little bit. That's when I think you can have success against Utah.
Of course, Utah is without Devontae Booker. This was a guy that was all conference last year. Even some Heisman chatter when they were, in the top 3 earlier this season. Of course, him not being in there is going to affect their offense, although you look at his backup, Joe Williams, he ran for over 100 yards against UCLA. Now, they couldn't turn that into many points, though.
Yeah, and I think with him, that shows you how great the system is that they're running and how good those blockers are up front. But as Coach McIntyre said after practice today, it absolutely affects that offense that, they don't have Booker back there. And he said, that's one of the reasons that they couldn't score points. He said Booker kind of had that swagger, that attitude that said, I'm just going to put this team on my back and take it into the end zone. And no matter what, when you lose a player like that, it's going to hurt them. So, you're talking about a UCLA defense that the Buffs kind of tore apart, and they were only able to put up 9 points on them. So I think their offense is struggling to figure out how to work without Booker.
Defensively, Utah has always done a good job of recruiting those poly kids, and their front seven, again, this year is one of their strengths. Talking with the Utah writer, he said that the one kind of weakness of that defense is safety. They have been susceptible to giving up some plays over the top. Cade Apsey, though, his strength is the short to intermediate passing and his accuracy with those throws. I don't really see Colorado's offense really matching up against Utah's defense very well. And shoot, this is an offense that only scored 3 points against a bad Wazoo defense.
Yeah, I think if I'm Brian Lindgren game planning for this game, you almost want to just run like a Washington State style offense. Take some plays out of what you saw over there, and you just have to get the ball out of Cade Apsey's hands quickly, because this offensive line is going to struggle to stop those big boys up front for Utah. And I think, if you're not going to be able to run the ball against them either, because, they're a great run defense. So you have to be able to kind of make the pass game an extension of the run game in this one. I think you get a lot of guys in motion and kind of just flank it out to them whenever you can and kind of let those guys try and make plays. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle to try and score points against this defense, but I think you need to kind of get tricky and change things up, because what you did last week certainly wasn't working.
I'm going to put my spotlight this week on the Colorado offensive line. I feel like they're going to have their best game of the season this Saturday in order for Colorado to have a chance in this football game. Stephon Nembot, his last game, go out and put it all together finally as a player. He had some issues in last week's game. Alex Kelly, every snap has to be right to Cade Apsay. Right to where he can go right into his motion. This is a Cade Apsay that's got enough on his mind going into this game. The last thing he needs to do is be picking up balls off the turf.
Yeah, that's a great one there. For me, I'm going to spotlight just kind of the front seven for the defense. I think that they're going to have to be able to stop the run. If they're not able to stop, Joe Williams and Travis Wilson on the keepers, they're not going to have any success. You can't let Utah get into those short yardage situations, because that's when they're going to be able to put up points, is just kind of marching down on you, running the ball, running that read option. More specifically, the defensive line. They just have to be able to get off those big blockers and make some plays in the backfield and put Utah into those situations where you could see Travis Wilson get a little flustered and kind of become a little errant with his passes. When you put him in third and longs, that's when you can get him off his game.
They call it the Rumble in the Rockies. No one is buying into this rivalry, though.
No. I don't know who in the world's idea it was to give this rivalry a name. Rivalry. Make sure you have those quotes there. But first of all, it's too cliche. It's a terrible name. And it's too much like the Rocky Mountain Showdown. It's just all around bad. Rivalries have to earn their names. There's a reason the great rivalries have the names they do. You can't just stamp some, corporate stamp on this game and try and make it a rivalry. It's stupid.
I will say Rice-Eccles Stadium is probably my most underrated Pac-12 venue. I enjoy going out there to cover games.
Yeah, we went last time, and great press box, sweet views with a big glass wall kind of thing that looks out over Utah. Great food in there.
Some barbecue.
Yeah. So it's a great place to go cover a game.
So if Colorado loses this game, there is going to be kind of a negative feeling about this football season, because it's kind of just too much similar to last year, not being able to get over the hump against quality Pac-12 opponents. Somehow they pull off this upset. How much does that change your thinking about this season?
To me, it doesn't change my thinking too much. It does give you a better feeling that maybe they got over the hump at the end, but I think where it really matters is with the fans. I think if the fans can kind of go into the offseason thinking, oh, wow, they finally got over that hump. It took them 2 whole seasons, but they did it. They did it at the end there. That's going to make a huge difference. And, of course, it's like Mike McIntyre said, that feeling stays with you for a long time, because, you don't have to erase it because you have a game the next week. You're able to kind of have that warm, fuzzy feeling going into the holidays that you finish the season on a win, and that is huge. I think, for this team coming into their off-season workouts, everything can make a big, big difference. But you also want to be wary to put too much on it, because, think about when John Embry went into Utah and won that game. We all had a very different feeling about the team going into that offseason, and it wasn't really warranted.
Well, a little bit of a difference, though, in the sense that John Embry's first team had 28 seniors on it. This Colorado team is going to return most guys. So if you go into conference play next year without that big question mark looming over your head of can you beat a quality Pac-12 team, I think it's going to stick more with this program than it maybe would have back then. But there's no question. You can kind of overanalyze a lot of just one games, but I feel like this would be really big for this program going forward.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things where if they have a chance to win it, they really have to do it, or else people are going to be. I think it's the more close games you lose, the more it starts to go on the coaching staff.
All right, that's it for the preview. You're going to see more of us just with a different backdrop behind us with the Coors Event Center. Signing off for the last time from the Colorado football practice fields.